we got the flies. How did we go about presenting them? You did some unique stuff when we got this dialed in yesterday, Dejon. You want to talk about your rig a little bit?
Yeah, so we're using what's called a long line drop shot technique. And basically we're gonna have split shot all the way down at the bottom. We're gonna have a big indicator up on our main line. And we're gonna have a series of flies tied with double surgeon knots.
Now, how many flies are we talking? You running like 5, 6 flies?
5 or 6. No.
Like really covering the cone?
You know, you do that, but it takes you an hour to retie every time they get tangled. So I've cut it down to 2 over the years. So just to get started, you're gonna have your leader coming off of your fly line. I like to use a nice, long, level leader. Right now, we just got a couple feet here for demonstration purposes.
Now, what kind of line is that? Does that come some kind of special mono, or you got to order it somewhere?
No, this will just be a regular leader, depending on what kind of fly line you're using. On that system I had yesterday, I had like a double aught fly line, so a very light fly line to level mono for like 20 feet.
If I'm gonna buy this, what pound test you using? Like you got something you?
I like to have, you know, some weight in the hand, so I use like 30 pound. You know, and I'm doing a lot of lob casting. But you can also use this technique with a regular fly line, like a 5 weight, and you'd have to do more, you know, traditional casting. But I want to make sure that I don't have a lot of weight in between my presentation, my indicator, so I can keep my line off the water the whole time. So that's why I'm using a really long level leader. So you'll basically, whatever leader you're running, you run that off of your fly line, and then you're going to have your indicator. What are these called? I forget. Airlocks?
Airlock, that's an airlock.
Yep. And what are the other ones you were using the other day?
Ergo, the newer one there.
The Ergo?
Something like that.
This is a big one too. It's an inch indicator because I'm gonna use 2 weighted flies and split shot at the bottom. So we'll have this up at the top, and this will be moving up and down your leader depending on the depth. And then I'm starting with, what do I have here?
So you're talking depth there. Now, one thing we need to cover, how long is that section of this leader? I mean, you're using a 5-foot leader, 10-foot leader. What are you normally putting on for the length of monofilament?
I had 20 feet yesterday.
20 feet,
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a longer leader system here.
Yep.
More of your, these guys call it in the Euro world, that'd be like your mono rig type.
Right, exactly. Yep. First section, we're taking 4-pound Seaguar Fluoroflex here, not Fluoroflex, fluorocarbon. And we're gonna just attach this to the tippet ring.
Now, what is that? What's the purpose of that tippet ring? Like, do you need to have that, or?
It just, once you get one tied on, it just makes it so much easier to re-rig, you know? Instead of having to tie line-to-line knots, you can just tie right to that tippet ring. So you're gonna get tangles, you're gonna have to retie a lot, you know?
And then also act like that's going to keep your indicator from really sliding down the whole way and causing problems in this too. It's only going to go down to that point if it would slip around, right?
Yep, exactly. So get that first section on. Now we're going to grab another section of the fluorocarbon.
Now, what knot did you use there when you were connecting?
That's just a fisherman's knot, not even an improved.
So you
know?
just kind of did basically a cinch knot to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
And now here you're going to start using a little different, 2 different knots.
So now we're going to use a double surgeon's knot right here. So we're going to pull that bottom section about as long as we want that dropper. I do it a little longer at first. So you take the top side, wrap that over.
Now you doing that longer in case you need to like change flies. You got a little.
A little bit. That, you know. Also, when you're tying it, when you're finishing it, you're not sure exactly how long it's going to be. That way, I make it a little longer, so that I can cut it down to the length I want.
Now with that, when you get that, you get both ends. I know some guys say they like to use that top dropper because it sticks off.
You know, there's been back and forth discussion over the years, but I find that that knot will pop sometimes if you use the top dropper.
Yep,
so I always use the downside. And then also you're gonna get that nice natural hang.
Yep.
So it doesn't have that bend, it's going to wrap around itself.
Now, I know, I mean, you and I were doing this all the time. What do you think, like the difference? You got guys that'll just go fly to fly and stuff like that. Do you think it really makes a difference when you're using that and got that drop?
100%, because you have a fly that's on its own terminal end rather than a fly attached to it.
So you can kind of work around the current a little better.
It's gonna look a lot more natural, and also when a fish takes it, you're gonna get that feel right there rather than grabbing like the middle of your line, basically, you know?
Yep.
So we're gonna go just do the same thing we just did.
And now this here, you're tying on another dropper, and then it's gonna go the other, it's gonna be your end basically, right?
It's going to give you that bottom dropper fly, and it's going to give you the terminal end where we're going to put our split shot.
Now, when you're putting these flies on, you worried about heavier, lighter in either part of the rig, or you don't think it matters too much?
No, I like to use especially when you're casting 2 flies in some split shot, you have to be methodical about it, whether you're doing a lob cast or you're doing accentuated rolls in your fly line, because it'll tangle up really easily. So if you have the heavier fly and split shot at the bottom, you'll have less tangle usually. So I'll put that lighter fly up top, which is usually some sort of nymph.
Now this reminds me a lot, like, I know where you're from, you do a lot of steelhead fishing. Is that kind of where you originated some of this stuff at, or?
I've seen, people doing other methods, so I adopted a little bit of this over the years. So at the bottom here, we're going to just do an overhand knot. That's it, right at the bottom. You can leave that tag on, and that's gonna allow us to put the split shot at the bottom here now.
Any kind of special split shot you like or anything?
Round. I don't like anything with a tail.
Okay, so just your normal BB.
Yep.
Small. And really, I'm guessing anything can work for somebody in a pinch. Whatever they have, they don't have to go out and get anything special. It's all about getting that weight at the bottom.
Right. Yep, exactly. So now with that overhand net, you can put your split shot on. And we'll just do 2 right now. And you're gonna want to basically change your split shot based upon the depth of the water and how fast it is. So I'll go anywhere from like 2 split shot, sometimes up to...
Let's take a good look at that. Hold that up so you can kind of see. Like, so you're really putting that on there, and you got that knot, you got the split shot on there, so that's gonna go right to the bottom and almost...
Yep, so this is gonna head right to the bottom, and it's gonna bounce along the bottom there.
So it's a lot like...
It's gonna drag, it'll actually like pick up muck, and I'll even let it get mucky sometimes.
So it's a lot like you see in the bass world in a way, kind of putting it in the fly fishing realm and getting that drop shot, and you can just work those flies in the zone.
Yep, exactly. So coming back now, we got the split shot on the bottom, and we're gonna come up to our first tag. And what are we gonna put there?
We're gonna go with...
What's this called?
I think they call that the mop there, don't they?
Oh, well. It works, though.
That's a good attractor fly. And this time of the year, this colder weather, these fish are a little sluggish at times, and if they're going to eat, they kind of want a big bite, and that looks like something.
Yep. I use this Davies Knot, which I could show
Explain
sometime.
the Davies Knot again. When you put on the next fly, like kind of give it...
It's got a little pattern to it. I mean, it's like a wrap around, wrap over, and send back through. You could look it up online, and people have done some nice demonstrations of it, but it's so fast to tie.
Don't use much tippet then either.
No, it's so fast. And it's all in the hand, so you're not like wrapping a tag around. So yeah, I use that a lot, and I find it pretty secure.
And I know when we were competing, that's one a lot of
so
guys
fast, saves a ton of time.
We were able to change flies in a hurry.
When you don't want to head back to the bank, you're standing in the river and you break off a whole rig, I
will say, if you don't do it right, you'll find out real quick. That's what I'm
exactly.
sure you run into that.
Yep, exactly.
So that's something practice at home. Before you go on the water, you want to learn that knot, find the video, and...
Now we're going to put our top dropper on, the fly that Mark just tied.
So that
and what are we calling this?
I call that my black diamond. So Mark's black diamond. I don't really think there's anything else out there commercially. I think I'm probably the only one that's tying and selling that fly on.
It's a sexy looking fly. I like it. So here we go. Now from the top down again, we got our leader to our indicator, which we're going to be moving up and down depending on the depth of the water. Head to this first, your tippet ring, first section of fluorocarbon to your first double surgeon's knot. Your top dropper heads down, another double surgeon's knot to your bottom fly, and then down to that split shot.
We got about 15, 20 inches then to that, that's going to be up. So they're going to run in the calm, and you're not fishing that bottom fly necessarily right on the bottom then. You're fishing it up a little bit.
Exactly.
Which do you find, I know I do a lot, especially with the stock trout and that, they seem to really like to feed up, don't you agree?
One reason this was so effective yesterday was in the wind, I mean, we just couldn't keep contact with our indicator.
Yeah.
So I put this on, and this is anchoring it basically now. You cast it out, you got this big indicator on the water, wind can't whip it around. And then you got all this weight, split shot, actually connecting with the bottom. So it's bouncing along slowly. And we were able to get it in front of those fish, which were kind of lethargic. And we gave them enough time to look at it, and then they started biting.
And I know when we were there, just for reference, I mean, we were putting 4, 5, 6 split shot on there, depending on the run was yesterday, because we got some deep water with some good current.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to add that weight to it.
Yep, I always keep it on hand, and you can take a couple off, add a few more as you're progressing from run to run, change the depth, and then change out your flies, and it'll just put what it really does is, especially when it gets bouncing, when you get it dialed in and you get the right length of your leader, you get the right amount of split shot, this indicator is just gonna go doop, doop, doop. It's gonna be bouncing along, and you know those flies are down on the bottom in the strike zone now, bouncing along so slowly, and the fish just can't stand it.
Does it make a different noise when it's doot-dooting along? Trying to get a hit, or what? How do you tell when you're getting a...
It's definitely a doop-doop, yep. It's not a DD.
All right.
So there it is, long line drop shot technique.
You know, the nice thing about this is you don't need to go out and get any special tungsten beaded flies and stuff like we're using.
You could use unweighted flies on it too.
We're switching back and forth. Yeah, this works good with unweighted flies, eggs, whatever. I mean, it's pretty universal rigging that stretch.
Yep.
We'll go over on how you cast it and the drift a little more here, but it's slick rig.
Yeah, right on, man.